Hello, students, and welcome to another discussion. For today's discussion, we will be tackling another chapter in your work text, and that is Chapter 2, Aesthetic Arts and Crafts. But before we discuss the basic objectives for this chapter, let's have a brief recap or takeaway from our last lesson. So what can we learn from our past lesson? It's very simple, that art is everywhere. It is not necessary that you have to go to museums, art galleries, or art exhibitions to be able to understand and appreciate the meaning behind art. And because it is everywhere, you need to use your 5 basic senses: your sense of sight, your sense of smell, your sense of taste, sense of hearing, and sense of touch to be able to see, appreciate, and understand an art piece. Sensing the art in everyday is being able to perceive the elements of art and connecting or relating them to our personal and communal experiences. Relating the elements to our experiences is a form of art appreciation. Art appreciation is an encounter between the artwork and the audience. We, the audience, seek meanings of artwork from our everyday life experiences, and then we relate it to what the artwork tries to convey. Such an encounter can only happen in various sensory experiences like seeing, listening, smelling, touching, or tasting. These sensory experiences are ways on how we make sense of the artwork. By processing the sensory experiences and telling us that we always see more, the artwork becomes more visible or meaningful, and that we are transformed also in the process. And now we can begin with our second chapter. But before we begin, I will be explaining first the featured painting on our title slide. It is entitled San Francisco, Here We Come by the 1950s visual artist Margaret Keane. The featured painting on our title slide was created in 1991. It is print on canvas and it has a dimension of 8 by 10 inches. For this discussion, we have 3 basic objectives. Number 1, for us to be able to explain the concepts of aesthetic and craft. Our second objective, to be able to identify the different types of arts and crafts. And our last objective, to be able to discuss the principles of understanding the artistic composition. Let us start first with the basic definition of aesthetics. The word aesthetics comes from the Greek word aesthesis, which means perception. It is a branch of philosophy which deals with the study of art and beauty. Aesthetics does not only deal with the study of art and beauty, but specifically on how we can perceive beauty when we look at visual art pieces. This term was first used by the German philosopher Alexander Baumgarten. Next, let us define the term craft. When we say craft, it is derived from the German word Kraft, which means power or ability. Craft is basically the application of human skills through the use of hand. Now that we have defined the term aesthetics and crafts, what then is the relationship between aesthetics and craft? We create different kinds of crafts, mainly for its practical use. For example, the art of creating furnitures. We create chairs because we need something to sit on, so mainly for its practical use. But we also create it to appreciate its visual beauty, which is the focal point of aesthetics. Aesthetics and craft are related in a sense that for us to be able to appreciate beauty, for us to be able to perceive if something is beautiful or not, one way on how we can do it is to create different kinds of crafts. Now let us tackle the historical background of arts and crafts. When and how did it start? Arts and crafts started in the 19th century as a design reform and social movement. It began in Great Britain in 1880 and it quickly spread across America and Europe. Now, as you can see, arts and crafts started as a social movement. When you say social movement, it is a kind of organization wherein people want to create change within the society. During the 1800s, it was the height of the Industrial Revolution. When you say Industrial Revolution, it was an era wherein mass production and factories became the method of economic stability. So when you say mass production, it is the creation of thousands of goods at a limited time. So when you're able to create thousands of goods in a limited time, you can sell the products at a lower price. Now, because of that, William Morris, the forefather of the arts and crafts movement, have noticed a negative impact of mass production and industrialization when it comes to the shaping of creativity of the people. It has a negative impact. Now, he stated that instead of dividing the two, dividing the arts and crafts and dividing it from mass production or industrialization, why don't we combine the two? He is known to link art to industry by applying the values of fine art to the production of commercial design. So we are able to shape the creativity of the people. At the same time, we are able to make good money out of the creativity of the people. Now, what were the design principles that motivated the movement of arts and crafts? Number one, for us to be able to lean away from the simple styles developed by machine production. The second principle, for us to be able to appreciate the simple yet unique design that craftsmanship has to offer by emphasizing the materials used. The perfect example is Hermes, the luxury bag. Hermes bags only has five, I think, models, five or less models on their line. And the craftsmanship of an Hermes bag is superb. One bag is only made by one craftsman. Unlike machine-produced goods wherein the item is passed from section to section, in an Hermes bag, from start to finish, from the choosing of the skin towards the stitching and final touches, it is only one craftsman who handles the bag. So you can say that the quality of the craftsmanship is there because every Hermes bag has a signature of a craftsman inside the lining of the bag. Aside from that, you can also emphasize the quality of the materials. An Hermes bag is considered as an investment because you can pass it from generation to generation. You can use it from the time that you have bought it, maybe up until your great-grandchildren. The reselling value of an Hermes bag is also high, depending on the quality, depending also if it is a limited edition or not. So that is one of the advantages of a crafted or handcrafted product. And the last design principle, to be able to help the community economically and morally. During the time of the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, people were clamoring to the cities because they think factories can pay well. But what they don't know is that they are being overworked, but at the same time, they are being paid low. So what happened is that craftsmen dropped their craft. They went to the cities, to the factories to gain jobs. So William Morris wants to fuse industry and craft so that people could be proud of their skills to help them morally, to boost their morale, that there's nothing wrong to being a craftsman. They should be proud of it because not all of the people can learn the tricks of the trade of being a craftsman. And also to help them economically, for them to use this skill to be able to earn more. Why don't we put up our workshops in the rural areas and let us sell our goods in the city? So that was the initial plan of William Morris. Now let us continue with the different categories of arts and crafts. The first category is textile craft. Textile crafts are any kind of craft where you work with fabric, yarn, or surface design. The first craft under textile craft is weaving. Weaving is a fabric production technique in which yarn are interlaced at right angles to be able to form a fabric or a cloth. Weaving is an abundant trade here in the Philippines. As you can see on the picture on your left, at the bottom part, that is an example of a machine being used in weaving, which is a weaving loom. And of the upper portion, you can see a woman weaving a Tinala cloth, which is made by the Tiboli tribe of South Cotabato. Because weaving is an abundant trade here in the Philippines, every region boasts their own type of weave cloth. For example, from the northern region or the Cordilleran region, we have an example of a textile pattern. Most of the patterns of Cordilleran indigenous groups concentrate on vertical lines. And when it comes to colors, they concentrate on red, black, and yellow. Now, from the Visayas, we have an example of a husi or pineapple cloth from the province of Aklan, which is used to create barong Tagalog. And here in Mindanao, we have an example of an abaca fiber cloth. That is why during the 1900s, the Davao region became one of the major players when it comes to abaca production, specifically abaca ropes used for the ships during the war. Now, this is an example of the Tinala cloth of the Tiboli tribe of South Cotabato. This traditional cloth is hand-woven made of abaca fibers, which traditionally has three primary colors. You have red, black, and the original color of the abaca leaves. The colorant of the materials are naturally dyed, boiled in with bark, roots, and leaves of plants. It is a heritage and believe that the intricate and creative patterns of the Tinala was seen on their dreams and made it on to work. They can create a design of the Tinalak if they haven't dreamed of it. They are sometimes called the dream weavers. The next type of craft under textile crafts is tatting. Tatting is a technique for handcrafting, particularly in making durable lace, which is constructed through the series of knots and loops. As you can see on the picture here on the left side, that is the machine that you use in the tatting technique, and it is what you call a tatting shuttle. Here are some of the products that you can create using the tatting technique. First, you have table runners. Second, you have intricate designs for blouses. And you can also create accessories such as chokers or earrings using this technique. The next type of craft under textile crafts is what you call macrame. Macrame is a form of textile making which requires very few tools and just some pure knowledge of basic knotting. Now, what makes tatting and macrame different? The former uses techniques such as knotting and looping, while macrame uses only the technique on knotting. Now, here are some of the products that you can create using the macrame technique. The first one, you can create wall decorations. Aside from that, you can also create screen dividers. Next, you can also create swing chairs or hanging chairs. And you can also create lampshade covers.